Well, Hardcore's out there, how are you doing? It's Russell from Porky's Corner, the biggest job in sport. We say the things that everybody wants to say. If you want to come on Zoom, like Brian, the email's bottom left-hand corner. All right, get in touch, porkycorner@mail.com. Can you just turn it down a little bit? Your thing, it's a bit loud, that, Ryan. I can hear it
Yeah,
bounce.
no drama, mate.
Oh,
Is that better?
no, that's loud, that, mate.
What is it? Sorry. 1 second, mate. I'm a bit of a technophobe, you know.
You don't say. How are
Second.
you?
Is that any better, my friend?
Mate, it's loud, that's loud, that. It's echoing, mate.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's bouncing, yeah.
I'm in the
Can't you hear it
meeting.
yourself?
Pardon?
Can't you hear it yourself?
I can, yeah. But I'm in the meeting room, mate. That's all. Trying to think where else I could go. A little bit
Just
stuck.
all you need to do, mate. Have you got speakers on your computer? Is it a desktop? Yeah. Just turn
Yeah.
the speakers down a touch. That's all you've got to do. Yeah. Not just on your computer, on your speakers, because it just bounces and you get these woke brigade and they're like,
Yeah, I've just turned it down a little bit now, mate.
so how are you? You all right?
Really well, mate. Really well. How are you? You okay?
All right. I'm all right. We had you on a couple of years ago. Then you said, "When you get me on again, you cunt." I went, "What are you calling a cunt?" So if you get me on
That's
day,
it.
you'll not get on again. And then obviously,
I've been on the ale. I was drinking as well then.
you know what I mean. We've all done it, haven't we? But I believe in second chances. So you're
Appreciate
all right then. Obviously, you've been watching boxing over the last couple of years, but we'll cover the Saudi stuff. It's pretty random stuff that you've probably watched in the last few weeks and that. What do you make of all this Saudi vibe and that?
It's a bit of a sellout, but I appreciate that money's got to be earned. You know, we're all in business no matter what we're doing, whether we're stacking shelves or boxing.
Yeah.
But it's a bit of a sellout.
Pardon?
It's a bit of a sellout to some extent. You know, what about Britain? I think there's a lot of fighters that are being left behind as well. You know, it's okay being at the top. Well, what about the guys who are coming through? What about the guys at the bottom? They're not getting any opportunities because the cards are not here as much now. They're over there. I don't really like that.
Yeah. What do you think about the Conor Benn situation? Obviously, we've not spoke for a few years since that's broke. What do you think about it? 2.5 years later, he's had 2 adverse findings, and still they've not given us an explanation. But they've told us 7 different versions of what's gone on. But nobody's coming out and saying, "Well, we've took it or they haven't took it." Is he banned? Into he banned? What do you think about all that?
You and I, ironically, last time you and I spoke, we had a conversation about Conor Benn. I mean, I'm a little bit perplexed by his accent because this kid's from Spain or Australia, but he speaks with a thick Essex accent. He's a bit fraudulent at the best of times. Moreover, he's never fought anyone, not for any kind of a title. So I'm a little bit confused about him as an individual. But the whole drug thing, it's evident in it. So there's a cover up at play, and it's wise, it's smart. I don't fault them for doing what they're doing, but I can't wait to see him get pressed. Simple as that.
I mean, you see him getting put on bottom moon.
Correct, sir. Yeah.
Who wins, Eubank or Ben?
Who do you think?
I think Chris Eubank beats him. Well, this is how I look at it, right? We have weight divisions for a reason, right? Fighters are not superheroes. If we didn't have weight divisions, you'd have people like Barry McGuigan fighting Frank Bruno, wouldn't you, back in the day? And you'd have one guy up here and one up here, one out here, one in here. So it wouldn't work, would it? One's a super middleweight stroke middleweight, one's a welterweight, and it's not even a big welterweight. So yeah, that welterweight, yeah, he can put the weight on at 5'8". I mean, I went up to nearly 29 stone at 5'8". He can easily put the weight on. It's easy, but can he carry that weight up to Chris Eubank, who's a naturally bigger person? He's got a longer reach. He's got 7 years more experience on him. I just think that sooner or later, people messing about with weight divisions, somebody's going to get hurt. Now, hasn't anybody learned anything from when Kell Brook, a welterweight, fought Golovkin in the middleweight? And look what happened there. Yeah. You got one eye socket shattered, and the other one half shattered. And then when he came back down to welterweight to defend his belt, because Eddie said, "Well, don't worry, if you lose, you still got your other belt." Errol Spence finished off his other eye socket, and other eye socket. He's never been the same fighter since.
No.
Hasn't anybody learnt from that? Hasn't Eddie Hills and all that team around him learnt from that? And why would they put Christian Ben in the same situation as Conor Ben? I don't get that. You?
No, not at all, mate. The only thing I'd say is Eubank. I like him. His volume's decent. He trades off athleticism. That's how he wins a fight. He doesn't win a fight by any kind of educated boxing knowledge, or you would never see him really win with any good real technical know-how. It's based on him being a better athlete than the other fighter. Ben is a good athlete. He does pressure well, effectively. He knows how to come in behind a jab. And I don't know, with the way Eubank, he crosses over his legs continuous. When he tries to pivot off, it's awkward. It's not natural. But again, if you're fighting the Zerametas of the world, you can get away with it. So I can see Ben doing well. But God willing, Eubank schools him and beats him and humbles him, because he desperately needs it really bad. He should be looking to fight Liam Taylor, Echo Esserman. They beat him, by the way.
Josh Kelly.
Who?
Josh Kelly.
Even at light middle, go up and fight Josh Kelly. I mean, but those British guys at welterweight, they would beat Conor Ben. They would beat him. I don't know.
Well, he's jumping up from welterweight. They're going to do it at 160 if they do it, if he even gets a license. Now, my argument is this: 147 to 160. What about 154? But he can say, well, he had 2 fights in America at 154, but there were nothing fights really. And what happened in them fights? He couldn't get them guys out there, could he? So if he doesn't carry power up to 154, which is 11 stone, how's he going to carry it up to 160 with a guy who's technically got an IBO world title belt at 168? How's he going to do that? It's going to go to points. He's not going to be able to stop him. So in my opinion, he's just there for the money and all the hype. I mean, you're seeing it. You saw it the other night. It reminded me of Vince McMahon and Hulk Hogan and The Undertaker and all that nonsense. And everybody's laughing it up, thinking, oh, this is brilliant. This is boxing, this. It's not a circus. People get hurt in there, don't they?
Yeah.
I don't know, mate. I don't know. I just think he hasn't proved anything at British level. He's not got an area belt. He's not got English, a British, a Commonwealth, a European, and definitely not a world title. So he hasn't got any of them 6 belts from them 6 levels. No belt whatsoever. But yet he's ranked number 2 on box weight at welterweight. But he's not fought at welterweight for 2.5 years. So how has he got that ranking? I don't get that. I mean, am I sick or something here? Or is there something going on that I'm missing here? And why are these YouTubers we access not pulling him up on this, saying, how are you ranked number 2 on box weight and you're not fought for 2.5 years at welterweight? Just a question that needs asking. Or why are they not saying to him, you've had 2 adverse findings for doping. Where's your explanation? Are you serving a silent man, aren't you? Why are these questions not being asked? And I'm going to keep banging on about it, and people can keep complaining in comment section, sending me threatening emails whatsoever. It's water off a duck's back after 7 years. But I just think that fans have a right to know why we've got a cheat in this sport who's not answerable for his actions. That's all I want to know. It's not rocket science, is it?
Just out of interest, Parky, what would happen if one of these geezers at IFL or Boxing King Media or any of the others, what would happen if they actually posed that kind of a question? What would be allowed
to put it out? They'd turn around to him and say, Conor Ben would probably answer it, and they go through a question, and then after 15 minutes they go, Cougs, don't put that out. And you've got the right to not put it out. They won't put it out. It's a bit like, this one. Mark Tibbs did an interview with IFL, and Coogan pulled it because Dylan White said, oh, I don't want that out, Coogan. So Coogan pulled it. So Mark Tibbs, I'm not going to go into about what happened, but let me just say Mark Tibbs were very unhappy about what happened, very unhappy. And this is what happens behind the scenes. I had it and I didn't have a problem with this. I did a 3 hour, 30 minutes with Robin Reid in my car park down a lane, right? And I had an automatic Merc at the time. And then next morning, Robin Reid said, oh, I don't want that out there. I went, you're having a laugh. I went through 6 batteries with that. It was a phone in the door, in car just pulled up middle at night. 3.5 hours and he asked me to pull it. So, but he's got the right to. Fair enough. And I deleted it all and I ain't got the footage. But I was devastated. But they do have the right. You've got to, if they don't want it out, you've got to say, okay, then not put it out. Otherwise, you're known as a scumbag. You know what I mean? That's what had happened. That they won't like it. But if he did put it out and it looked bad, they'd tell him to pull it out then, but it'd be frowned upon. And if Coogan went after him again with the same question, they just stop the act. They stop. But they're not going to do that to somebody who is it godfather to one of Ben's kids or something. So it's all nice and cozy, innit, and all that. Do you know what I mean? It's like match at day, innit? It's the old pals act, innit? Everybody sat on the sofa. You know what I mean? So that's how I look at it. And we all remember that the other day when Eubank come out of the weigh-in and Crusher Ben were there and he put it straight on Eubank, who were dehydrated because he had to make weight. And then Eubank says, why are you behaving like this? I've just had to make weight. And then they had a bit of a tete-a-tete 3 or 4 minutes. And then Cameron turned to Eddie Hills and Eddie went, oh, what happened over there? I was just getting a coffee. No, Edward. You orchestrated it. And Coogan, Johnny on the spot, just happened to be there with his camera. Eh? Not good, eh?
That's another thing that winds me up with Ben. Like, he's never had it like that. He's never had it like, and he gives it all that kind of talk. Like his dad was, you know, an hard man, a capable man from the streets. This is a posh boy who was at private school. He's never, you know, had it there head to head with someone. I'd love it if someone, you know, a proper, let's say Jaron Ennis, just got hold of him, bang, stuck it clean on his kite. I don't like him. I don't like him, mate. I hate that it's like, I feel like that about a boxer because he is risking his life at the end of the day. But the kind of talk he gives it, and he's, again, Darren Tetley had schooling. You know, Tetley at Bradford would schooling, in my opinion. I just don't rate him in any way, shape or form. And he's getting paid millions. Shocking.
Okay, the Saudi show, we'll just run through a few fights that were on there. What did you think of Fabio Wardley against Fraser Clark? It's big freeze.
Yeah, I didn't really see it happening, if I'm frank. But when I seen Clark at the weigh-in, I was a little bit perplexed by his shape because he was doing well the last fight, and I thought if he builds on that stamina-wise, then he will beat Wardley. And again, the more mobile you are, he must have known that Wardley cracked in that first fight. He got rocked many times. He got dropped. Why would you not come in better shape as opposed to putting on, I believe, maybe 15, 16 pounds? But I still didn't see it happening the way it did. It was incredible, really, really incredible. And God willing, Fraser Clark makes a full recovery and can live to fight another day properly in the right kind of way. I see Wardley going further, but his lack of, he's got not a great deal of technique. I think he'd be found out the further up he goes. Someone said Jared Anderson as a possible opponent, or a Martin Bakoli. I think they'd or in Ajit Kabayel. They've got real good technique, good technicians, good power, and they're around the same size, if not a little bit taller than him. So he'd struggle, but for a white collar fighter, mate, he's done phenomenally well.
You think that he makes a mockery? Fabio Wardley coming from white collar beating an Olympic bronze medalist in the first round.
The heavyweight division, definitely, yeah, because it's essentially he's an athlete.
Mockery at Olympians, doesn't it?
Correct. I mean, our Olympic squad doesn't look very good right now. You know, Whitaker quitting the way he quit. And then again, Fraser getting spanked the way he got spanked. Not to be disrespectful, but yeah, it doesn't look very good. But again, this is the thing in boxing now. Back in the day, in the 80s, the 90s, certainly in the heavyweight division, there were technicians. There was people who were outside of the top 10 who would school, you know, a lot of the lads in the top 10 now. Let's say even Henry Tillman, who didn't do too well as a professional. He would give most of the guys now a proper hiding. What was his name? Tubbs.
Olympic gold medalist, Henry Tillman, 1984 Los Angeles.
He was indeed, yeah. He didn't do much as a pro, unfortunately, but professionally, the way he fought, he would school a lot of these guys. Again, like the outer guys, like a Greg Page or even a Shannon Briggs. You know, these kind of guys from the 80s and 90s, they would school these guys who were fighting in the heavyweight division now, aside from Usyk and perhaps size-wise Fury. But from a technical perspective, it's night and day, completely night and day. Like, could you imagine Michael Dokes at 6'3", 220 pounds, I'd say, at best? Imagine him in the ring with Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, Derek Chisora, Dillian White. We're talking about a serious technician who is not going to go down like in the grandeur that they will because of the era that they're in. But again, those kind of people would have no chance in yesteryear. It's all a bit strange. And Wardley is essentially an athlete. He's a fantastic athlete with phenomenal power. He's not a good boxer. But again, that's the state of boxing.
Okay, when I look at the heavyweight division, I look at Martin Bakole, 6'6", 20 stone. Parker's 20 stone now. He's a big lump. These people are like, and Zhang, he's a big lump, but none of them really are good talkers. They're not commercially viable to people like Eddie Hills and people like that. You think they're like the forgotten like generation of heavyweights? They're like parked up, aren't they? Because they're not ticket sellers and they're not engaging. Like your Furies and your Joshuas and people like that. I mean, even Dave Allen's got his Senate mix for a fight in Saudi on the strength of what? What has he done? What has he done since he beat Lucas Brown? He's been in the wilderness donkeys, hasn't he? So, and then he's been fighting guys that are like got losing records for the last few years. So, but do you feel that there needs to be a balance because we've got great fighters that don't get themselves out there on social media. Then we've got fighters that are pony that are out there on social media constantly. Do you think there needs to be a bit of a balance for them all to get their day in the sun or get the flowers, so to speak?
I think the operative words that you've used there, commercial viability. Commercial viability is determined upon geography in boxing. And I remember I actually emailed Boxer maybe 18 months ago. They had a job offering for a matchmaker. You had to have been your job. And I'd been to their show at the MEN and they had Lawrence Okoli topping the bill. At Manchester. Like, this is a Londoner.
You're a Manchester lad, aren't you?
Yeah. I'm in just outside of Manchester City Centre now, and but they had him fighting David Light, a New Zealander, and I emailed and said, like, look, you need to have Okoli where he's from because his style's negative. I like Okoli; he's a good character, bad style. Hopefully, Joe Gallagher fixes him because he'd be a good addition to the heavyweights as well, in my opinion. But these boxers that you mentioned there, Zhang is massive in China. Why not get a Chinese promoter and focus on fighting in China and get people over there? They're paying for your tickets in China and they want to wait up and watch you in China. You can sell out arenas there. Same with Mr. Parker. Bakole is tough because I don't really understand if he's well known, if he's massive over there. And I believe he's a prince of sorts in the Congo, but Africa's never really taken off boxing wise, and I can't imagine.
It's not as exciting as a wet fart to talk to.
Martin Bakole.
He leaves Billy Nelson, his trainer from Scotland, to do all talking for him. I don't find him engaging. I think he's a big stiff, but he can fight, can't he? And he's got a win over. He's got a good win, hasn't he? And he's also been medalist Joker, doesn't he? So he's on a good run, isn't he, Bakole?
Yeah, he's good. He's good. Again, though, his style's easy. Like, he stands very straight. And it all comes from here. There's no twisting. There's no turning. There's no dipping and sliding. It's all very boom, 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 boom. And could you imagine, like, again, I go back, some of the heavyweights from imagine him in the ring with like a Riddick Bowe or, someone who can slip, slide, fight on the inside, outside, mid-range. They would kill these. Martin Bakole quit against Michael Hunter only 4 years ago. And Hunter's a good fighter. Nobody will fight him. He's still the same Martin Bakole, but he's a problem because he's 6'6" and 20 odd stone. He's a problem.
Well, when you're that big, you
can't
land your punches because you're that big. And
no.
And you can't get out of the way of them because you're carrying free stone too much. It's like, if I say to you now, right, I'm going to give you a rucksack with free stone in back. Let's see if you can fight with that on your back. You fight better with art on your back, wouldn't you? And that's what it's
naturally.
Like. So, okay. Did you see the Liam Cameron fight against Ben Whittaker? How did you have that?
Yeah. I like him as well, Cameron. I like him. he's got a good story to tell, and it's sad what he's been through. So God bless him and his family, most importantly. But again, it came down to decent boxing fundamentals. Whittaker is fundamentally correct, but when he tries to do all of the things that he does, there's holes, there's gaping holes in his defense. And again, if you're just prodding a jab forward, you will catch him. What was alarming was he was getting caught with everything. He was getting caught with the lot. There was no movement. There was no shifting. There didn't seem to be a plan B. It was very alarming. I don't see where he can go. I don't know what his limit will be, but I don't see him beating Buatsi. I don't see him I think Willie Hutchinson would smash Ben Whittaker to bits.
Yeah.
Oh, he would. Yeah.
Okay. Sky Nicholson, Raven Chapman. Did you watch that?
I'm going to sound like a sexist. I never watched female boxing. I never watched it. I've tried.
All right. Did you watch?
Not to be rude.
Did you watch Chris Eubank against that guy's name that sounds like it's
Zerameta? Yeah.
Well, it sounds like a cream you put on a rash, doesn't it?
yeah. Heavy duty.
What did you think to that fight?
Again, it was an athlete against a non-athlete. Zerameta, I'm sure he got held to a draw by a Bolivian taxi driver maybe 18 months ago. And, that was just off me having a look on BoxRec when the fight was announced. And I seen that and I thought, he's not the guy that pushed back Golovkin for 2 rounds. He isn't that guy. But Eubank looked how he was meant to look, and he got the job done that he was meant to get done. And what was your opinion on that?
Well, I was the same as yours, basically, but I thought he should have got him out there earlier, basically. But the kid was tough, wasn't he? But
he's an hard man, yeah.
Got him out there, and it's a good showcase stoppage for him. He dropped him a few times. He was in control of the fight. But I think it'll be an easy night's work when he fights Conor Benn. Very, very easy.
I fucking hope so, mate. I hope so.
All right, then. Main event. How did you have it?
I squeezed Beterbiev. How did you have it?
I thought Beterbiev nicked it by a round, but only because I predicted he'd win. I said he'd win on points if you'd watched the channel. And
I did.
My friend Peter De Freitas had Bivol winning it. Eddie Hills had Bivol winning it, but Bivol's Eddie's fighter, and he's screaming robbery. Eddie, I think the only gripe Eddie can have is the judge who had it by 4 rounds. I don't know what he were watching. I don't know where he was from, but he had it by 4 rounds. One of the judges doing.
Yeah.
I don't see that because one judge had it to. Did one have it to Bivol? Or one had it a draw. Sorry, one had it a draw, didn't he? It was a mandatory decision, wasn't it? One had it a draw. So had it, I can't remember. Let me just have a little look what the judge.
Yeah.
It was a mandatory, wasn't it? Mandatory decision. I'll get out, but I know one had it 116 points to 112. Oh, you've got your computer there. You have a look then.
Yeah, one sec.
Well, mandatory decision. 2 judges had it for Beterbiev and 1 a draw. So how can it be 4 rounds out in a 12-round fight? I mean, what are they watching?
I think Bivol did well, but he was fighting in spits. Yeah, so one judge had it a draw. You're right, and then it was 2 points and 4 points.
Yeah. Do you remember the judging for the Willie Hutchinson Buatsi fight? They were 10 rounds apart, and the 2 judges were 10 rounds apart, which is the most that's ever been in a world title fight for about 35 years. 12-round fight, not world title, eliminator, wasn't it? WBO.
Yeah.
12-round fight, and 1 judge there, 1 there, and they're 10 rounds apart. So, do they need to go for their eyes testing?
Yeah.
What's the answer, Ryan?
Pick a different sport. Go elsewhere. You don't know what you're looking at, silly dosser. But
I think it should be a rematch.
Yeah. I think there will be. Yeah. I mean, what Beterbiev was going forward. Beterbiev was throwing more punches, which statistically has been proven. Bivol was fighting in spurts too much. Like, he never really took the centre of the ring like he did against Canelo. and forced him back, which he definitely can do with his jab. His jab is incredible. And then the way he follows up on his jabs and moves and pivots around, he can definitely do that against Beterbiev. But he didn't do it. I mean, it's easy for you and I to talk about this. We're not getting smacked in the face by a monster. But you can see how both of them can win and both of them can beat the other. Very interesting, very high level.
Yeah.
It was hard to watch because you were having to really like watching everything that was going on. There was loads of stuff like at mid-range that both of them were doing. And again, the casuals wouldn't understand what they were watching, but they'll hear Eddie Hearn or Mr. Hills, as you say, they'll hear him say, "Oh, robbery, robbery, robbery." And they'll be on social media and creates a hoopla for nothing.
I don't call him Mr. Hills, I call him Eddie Hills. Somebody said to me in comments, why do you call him Eddie Hills? Well, in an interview about 8 years ago, I think, he said, "Have you ever done any boxing?" He said, "Yeah." He says, "Oh, well, you're not on amateur list." He says, "Oh, well, I was called Eddie Hills then because my dad's second name's Hearn, and he said I'd get slaughtered by being the son of Barry." So they changed it to Eddie Hills. But Eric Guy, the guy who does all the amateur records, said, "No, he never had any amateur fights. He had 2 move arounds in the gym." So that was it, 2 move arounds in the gym. So it's not exactly. But Eddie tells the tale like he's this 6-0 Iceman, doesn't he? 4 by way of, ripping through the division as a teenager as super heavyweight. So the name stuck, Eddie Hills. So if that's what he wants to be called, that's your name, Edward John Hills. So, and you know what? It was Dale Nichols from Lichfield in West Midlands who he used to pull me up all the time. He said, "Oh, stop calling him Eddie Hearn, it's Hills." So now we say, in the blue corner, Eddie Hills, Hills. We give him his moment because he loves it, don't you, Eduardo? But what I find fantastic at the moment is this. Tony Bellew obviously is not welcome in Saudi because he don't get on with brick top. Why isn't Eddie Hills going into bat for his loyal footman? Hey?
He should be.
Well, he should be, shouldn't he? But money's more important for Eduardo at the moment. So okie dokie.
Which again is understandable, but Bellew. But again, it is understandable. But Bellew is a good company man, and he was a champion for him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So okay. Well, listen, we're going to wrap it up. But listen, it's been great to have you on, Ryan, and you're welcome again. How's that?
I appreciate it, my friend. I appreciate it. God bless you and your family as well, Porky.
All right. You take care, kid.
Take care, mate. See you later. All the best.
Bye-bye. Well, that were Ryan from Manchester. Women love him, men want to be him. We'll have him on again. That's about it. Porky's International is our sister channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment. It's lunchtime now for Porky. Pop, pop, bang.